I guess I received the impressions that most people receive, that most women receive, is that it's going to be painful, it has to be clinical, you should go to the hospital, that's the safer bet. And then when I was pregnant, I mean, the fact is I react bodily to being in a hospital, and I had to face that fact. Being told that it's safer and reacting negatively to being in a hospital. I mean, I come from a family that had clinical births mostly. I was the only one that wasn't born from a cesarean section. And it wasn't the most straightforward birth. I ended up being in the incubator for, I think, 2 weeks. So I didn't have that example or any people that I knew who had a positive experience or any experience with a natural birth. Especially if you're being told left and right it's the safer bet, and I didn't know anybody who had a natural birth, so okay, we went and had a look at, you know, one of the nicer ones, and that was with a midwife, a beautiful birthing station, very women-centered. And I was standing there and everybody was oohing and aahing at this beautiful room, and my body just said no, and I just started getting lightheaded, and I was about to faint, so I stepped out, went into the other room, and Michael was there to support me. So I knew my body can't, even if my mind tried, I cannot be in a hospital, it's going to be a bad ending. And if you look at me, they'd even tell me, you're tiny and you have to be careful and this and that. Of course, the doctor as well was suggesting a hospital birth and possibly C-section, etc. But I just didn't want to hear it, because I really felt that was not my way. It was not my path. And when I feel it here, I get very stubborn, because I know it wasn't for me. So the reactions were people thinking I was crazy for considering anything else, because that's also all they knew. Clinical births, bad outcomes, and thank God you were in the hospital, instead of it happened because you were in the hospital. I think it's really just putting it out there, because I guess that's what was there for me. I just put it out there. I don't want to listen to that narrative. I don't want to be forced into a clinical anything. I mean, I have a lot of respect, and it should be there. The whole hospital system, medical system, everything that we've learned, the technology, like, thank God it's there. But birth should not be treated as an emergency, and that's the problem. It should be an emergency when it's an emergency. It shouldn't be treated as, yeah, a clinical emergency from the get-go, and that's the problem. It should be treated as a normal human process from the beginning, and only then, if it's an emergency, should we act as if it is. And yeah, I guess that's a huge topic of how to become closer to yourself, but I think part of it is not listening to what we get taught by Western society. And you were talking to our friend about health stuff, and enough time had passed where that was just too much German for me, so my mentally just clocked out and started looking at her books, which were mostly in German. And then there was, yeah, this massive wall, this massive wall of books. And I was just kind of scanning, because I was trying to just clock out from all the German conversation. And then I saw a book that says Mutter werden ohne Schmerz, which badly translated means becoming a mother without pain, you know, giving birth without pain. And I literally thought, was für ein Scheiß ist das? Like, I knew enough German to be like, what? Mutter werden ohne Schmerz? You can't have a baby without pain. So I picked it up, I started leafing through, and it was in German, and I was leafing through, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. He explains the physiological mechanics of it all, like the different layers of muscles and how fear causes the muscles to contract at the same time, and so it causes physical pain. So the experience of a painful birth is real, but it's also avoidable. I wanted to say yes is to tell people, to tell women that a painless natural birth is possible. And I know that because I did it twice. And just to believe in yourself, to believe in your own body, and then to arm yourself with information, to arm yourself yeah, with the physiological information, like Grantley Dick Reed's book, Childbirth Without Fear, and then there's a million other books, Unassisted Birth by Laura Shanley. You can just start searching and finding that information that really supports the fact that Indigenous women have given birth on their own for thousands of years without the clinical intervention. And people in the West are always citing how many women die from birth, but the numbers are the worst right now in Western society. Like, you would think that the US, with all of its medical improvements, would be at the top of maternal safety. It is absolutely not. That's what I'm saying. Go look at the numbers. Industrialized countries do not have the nicest numbers in terms of maternal care or how well mothers do giving birth and the babies do. So that shows it's not the best answer. I would have wished that for myself, for somebody to say, hey, it's possible.